Welcome to week 12 of this NFL regular season, and welcome inside the channel. It is 11:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, the 23rd of November. And man, oh man, just moments ago, some news dropped within the timeline from the Ravens that I think a lot of you are going to be compelled by and probably want to hear about when it comes to today's inactive list. But most importantly, who's up for the first time this season and for his NFL career. It'll be the first time potentially that he logs a regular season snap. That is Emory Jones Jr., the day 2 pick out of LSU. And yes, could that mean a potential change at guard could be incoming? All that and more is what we have coming up. Guest lines are open. Predictions, I want to hear from you. And you can also vote in the poll that you see right now, because what's the surprise is not Emory Jones being up. That's the exciting part of today so far. The surprise is that the edge rusher Carl Lawson, the veteran that they brought in, close to a month ago, if not over a month ago, remains out of the equation when it comes to game day activations and active roster status. So you can see it in the poll. Why hasn't Carl Lawson been used since his signing? A bunch of different options that you can go choose from. And if you'd like to share a thought on that or potentially the Emory Jones nugget, please do so by clicking on the link that I have included in the show notes. I should say it's actually in the pinned comment if you want to call in and share a thought with me. It's Ravens and Jets coming up in about an hour and 20 minutes or so at the bank. Ravens, of course, come in having won 4 straight games. They have successfully clawed their way out of the 1-5 hole that they've dug. And for the first time this season, could go above 500 if you beat the New York Jets, who are 2-8 today. Yes, they have had a struggle city type of season. They've benched their quarterback Justin Fields for Tyrod Taylor. It'll be a homecoming, of course, for him. The 2 wins on the left-hand side of that win-loss column for the Jets so far this season: at Cincinnati, 39-38 in a shootout, and home against Cleveland, 27-20. Other than that, it's been nothing short of disastrous in year 1 for head coach Aaron Glenn, who spoke glowingly this week in one of his press conferences about the Ravens organization from his vantage point.
History of how this team operates. And I think I said it earlier in the week that there's a number of teams that look at the Ravens and, man, we want to emulate exactly how they go about doing business. And Ozzie actually was the architect of how they went about doing their thing. So, and it's been consistent throughout. I mean, the players they draft certain type of players. They play a certain way. And I think at some point, man, every team has a lull. All right, but then some teams go back and remember exactly who they are, all right, and start to pick it up as the season progressed. And I think this is one of those teams. I think last year they started out like that defensively. It wasn't as good, but then they start to pick it up at the end of the season. So it doesn't surprise me that they're surging right now, but we just look forward because we get to play against a team that is surging. Kind
words from the head coach over there from a New York perspective. And hey, if they continue to surge, not only will they get back to 6-5, or I should say not get back, they will for once this season, the first time this season, get above 500 as a football team. They'll also keep pace with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And based on how the AFC North looks like right now, pre-12 noon, pre-all 1 o'clock games starting, it may look very different by the end of tonight. The Steelers are 6-4. It's a 1-game cushion over the Ravens atop the AFC North, who, of course, are 500 right now at 5-5. As for Cincinnati, 3-7, and based on some quarterback news there, they could really be leaking oil by the end of today. And of course, Cleveland at 2-8, last in this division. It will start Shedeur Sanders for his first NFL opportunity as a regular season starting quarterback. Now, from a Steelers perspective, before we dive into all things Ravens, some quarterback shuffling and news that dropped within the last hour. It'll be Mason Rudolph, QB2, starting today for Pittsburgh in Chicago against the Bears. Rodgers was pushing to play. Rappaport, Pelissero, Schefter, everybody was on top of this. Ultimately, Mike Tomlin, in his pregame interview with Evan Washburn of CBS, said, look, this is not the prudent decision. Or I should say, this is a prudent decision, somewhere along those lines. Who cares? Aaron Rodgers will not play for the Steelers today. If Chicago finds a way to get it done and the Ravens take care of business as they're expected to, as heavy favorites, 13.5 points to be exact, these two teams will be interlocked atop the division entering Week 13, which will be a short week for the Ravens, of course, with the Cincinnati Bengals looming on Thursday night. Speaking of those Bengals, Joe Burrow will not play today. Again, he is just over 2 months removed from surgery to repair a grade 3 turf toe. He has not been moved to the active roster. He's going to remain on injured reserve, and that means Joe Flacco and company will go up against the surging. You want to talk about surging? That's the New England Patriots. They're 9-2 in pole position right now to potentially be the top overall seed in the AFC. They come in having won 8 games in a row. That game will be played in the 1 o'clock hour today in Cincinnati. Ravens and Jets, of course, coming up in just a bit. Steelers and Bears also in the 1 o'clock slate. So it'll be a multitasking beginning of the day. Let's be clear on that when it comes to the AFC North shuffling and overall implications going into Week 12. As for Cleveland, yes, I know they're on the outside looking in when it comes to actually contending in this division. They will indeed start Shedeur Sanders. Dylan Gabriel remains in concussion protocol. The Ravens saw a decent bit of Shedeur and roughed him up pretty good in the second half last week in Cleveland, and he's got a tall task in front of him today, not only because of the lack of offensive line and pass protection and the lack of weapons around him, but history. He's going to try to do, as Schefter tweeted earlier today, what no Cleveland quarterback has done in 26 years. You got to go back to 1999 when the franchise returned to Cleveland. Browns quarterbacks making their NFL debuts, 0-17 in their first career start. That is the history that's not on Shedeur's side today, but we'll take a look at how Cleveland shakes out with that. Now, what you came for. The inactives just dropped a short while ago. Appreciate you guys for being with me. If you'd like to share a thought on a number of different things, including Emory Jones Jr., who could very well be making his first NFL opportunity, meaning his first debut in the NFL, his first regular season start as an NFL offensive lineman, click that link, as Will already has. We'll bring him in just a bit and open that thing up, because I'm sure the floodgates are going to be rolling in today, knowing that potential change could be coming, even if it is just from a rotational capacity. See what you have in the day 2 pick out of LSU. Today's inactives. Rashad Bateman will miss, not a surprise, his second consecutive game with a high ankle sprain. He was out on the field. I saw some beat reporters tweeting that within the last hour or so, testing out that ankle, but no Bateman today. Rasheen Ali is a healthy scratch, which means Derrick Henry, of course, as always, will be your top running back. Then Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill may end up splitting time, splitting targets, splitting snaps, and perhaps splitting duties on third down. Keon Martin, with that rib issue that popped up and forced him to travel back separately last Sunday in Cleveland, he's down today, missed some time this week, not a surprise there. Good news is for the Ravens, Marlon Humphrey will play after having that pin placed in his finger not all that long ago within the last couple weeks. Ben Cleveland is a healthy scratch, and now the conversation begins. Ben is down. Emory is up. What does this mean? Well, I think Ken McCusick just illustrated it perfectly in one of his tweets. Film Study Ravens podcaster and great Twitter follow, Ken McCusick writes, 2 things are clear about Emory Jones. 1, they trust him more than Ben Cleveland right now. And 2, they believe he's ready to play, or they would not take the chance having him active with just 8 offensive linemen on game day. Ken says, I expect we'll see him in some role today, whether that's as a 6th offensive lineman, late replacement, or rotating at right guard. So there you have it. I know a lot of you have been anticipating this. We talked about it all week, especially when John Harbaugh had glowing things to say about his rookie at the podium.
Progress. Very quick progress. It's only been about 3 to 4 weeks. One of the weeks was it was a Thursday night week. I think his first week was the Miami game, right? So I would say he's made excellent progress, and he's getting pretty close to being ready to play.
All right. He's getting really close to be ready to play. He's making excellent progress, suggesting that maybe he's ahead of schedule, and maybe, just maybe, the Ravens want to get a look at their rookie day 2 pick, a third rounder out of LSU. He was drafted as a tackle, has guard experience from his collegiate days, and damn it, he may have both experience. Well, hopefully he doesn't have tackle experience after today at the NFL level, but I think you know what I mean. Let's hope he has some guard experience after today. How about it? Like the video on your way in. Let's open up these goddamn guest lines. Call in, share a thought, vote in the poll. That has to do with Carl Lawson. I dropped that poll in there prior to the Emory Jones Jr. News dropping, so forgive me for that. That's not the most pressing item of today, Carl Lawson's status, but it is a conversation, and I do think it's a surprise that he remains on the outside looking in, especially when you consider the fact that you're not getting much from David Ajabo in a rotational role, and he's probably not going to be here next year. But anyway, like the video on your way in, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member, and help me instantly react to what we now know is fact. Emory Jones Jr. potentially in line to make his NFL debut today. He is active for the first time this season. Will, talk to me. Your instant reaction. Welcome to the program, brother.
Thank you for having me. I saw this. I jumped for joy because I was like, I told you, I said this, he was going to play. But like I said as well, I believe he's going to play later if we pull away for a big lead. I saw this morning Josh Berman next to Network. He's pregame thoughts. He said this is a game we either lose or win by 30. And it happens to us Ravens. We lose the Browns or somewhere else, which we sweat the Browns, which is great. But like I said, if we win by 30 or get a big lead, we're going to toss them in there. I'd be very surprised if we toss them in there at like tackle or guard early in the game. Like maybe they're just like, if they do, I feel like they'll be like, okay, let's toss you in the fire, see how you handle this. Like you played in the SEC, you played in big environments like similar to the NFL, but of course SEC and NFL are different things, but like I would assume they would put him in the later thing. So, but also with the Ben Cleveland thing, again, it's just embarrassing that John Harbaugh defended him, and now they're just like putting him to the side like he's nothing, I guess I could say. But I guess, yeah, this is like a prove-it game for Emory Jones in a sense. So
big opportunity awaits. It's a heavy favorite right now are the Ravens, 13.5 points. And obviously a lot of how today will shake out really hinges on Lamar's overall health. That's something that Aaron Glenn, Jets head coach, had something to say about during his press conference this week.
Like himself these last few
weeks? You know he does. He does. And if he doesn't look like himself, he still look pretty damn good, you know. So, again, he'll be a challenge like he is with everybody else. So we have to you have to be on our P's and Q's defensively to make sure that we contain him.
Of course, he's going to say, what you're supposed to say as the opponent leading into these games. We all know that Lamar does not look himself. He is not physically himself, and he has at least 3 known ailments known to the public that have either sidelined him or limited him. The latest, of course, is the ankle that popped up this week. He missed practice on Wednesday, was a full participant on Thursday and Friday, which was the exact same overall schedule for him the week prior. It was just a knee that popped up after the Minnesota game. And we all know a couple of the hits that he took, particularly the Dallas Turner one of the biggest of his career. And we've seen that too often this year related to some of the breakdowns in pass protection. Those deficiencies absolutely exist. Perhaps the Ravens want to do something about it. And we'll see as pregame warm-ups start here, Will, in the next few moments, what they're lining up right now as from an offensive line standpoint. And will there be a rotation? Will 77 still start? And to your point, could Emory get an opportunity to come out if the floodgates start to open up and the Ravens do what they're supposed to do against a lesser team that, again, they're double-digit favorites to beat? Brother, you got a score prediction on your way out for us?
As the biased Ravens fan, obviously, on this channel, I'm going to go 30-17 for the win. So, yeah, I'm excited for today.
Enjoy the game, my man, and you keep your eyes peeled on your doorstep or your mailbox. All right.
All right, will do. Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate you, brother. Guest lines are open. It's game day in Baltimore. It's Jets and Ravens in a little over an hour from right now. Ravens can continue this win streak and bring it up to 5 games, and for the first time, more importantly, get above 500 this season and keep pace with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, again, those two teams at the end of today could very well be interlocked together, neck and neck, atop the AFC North, knowing that it'll be Mason Rudolph today in Chicago, not Aaron Rodgers. They are sidelining him with that left wrist non-throwing hand fracture that he's dealing with. He's going to be down today, and we know, obviously, what's going on in Cincinnati as well. Joe Burrow was not activated, so it'll likely be a return for him on Thursday night, 5 days from now, in Baltimore, at the bank for a Thanksgiving primetime showdown. The question becomes, will Cincinnati be 3-8 at that point, or will they be 4-7? They're 3-7 right now, and Joe Flacco is going to try and keep their season afloat coming up. More on Lamar. He was asked a number of questions related to his health this week, and this is how he had to respond.
How are you feeling physically?
I'm good. I was able to practice. Good.
Do you feel like that has it affected your play at all? Because a lot of people will say when you have some injuries, you're not at full strength. Has that impacted your play at all?
I mean, if it just happened in the game, probably. But if you was injured, took some time off, and you was able to come back, I doubt it.
How are you handling the part that it's something different almost the last 3 weeks?
It's just part of football, I guess, but I'm good.
Your new normal, just you might need a day or two off here and there just because you are dealing with some things right now for this season?
Probably. We'll see how I go, though. Got to see how Coach feel about it.
Has there ever been a time when you were, caught from behind that it surprised you that you got tackled? I'm curious.
Only when I start, when I'm thinking it's like I'm gone and nobody chasing me. That probably been the only time. But other than that, nah. I don't recall getting caught in the league at all, though. So.
Rarely.
Yeah, I don't. When did I get caught? Rarely. Who caught me?
Getting caught in the Chiefs game after you caught your own pass.
Oh, that don't count. That do not count. Everybody know that was a touchdown for real. I ain't even know he dove.
Yeah.
That don't count. Get walked down. I ain't get walked down. He was right there already. He was full stride. I'm looking in front of me. I'm like, oh, it's 6. I'm like, what the happens, man?
Lamar making light of a difficult situation, obviously. The health has been in question, both from a eye test standpoint based on what we've watched on film in recent weeks, and also just straight up fact that he is now routinely missing Wednesday practices with different ailments. And we all know that he missed multiple games already this season with what we knew as a hamstring. Look, no player at this point in the season, as late November pushes, is anywhere near 100% if you are a full-time starter like Lamar is. But ultimately, I think we've all seen the trickle-down effect, the cumulative effect, which really is immeasurable on Lamar, given some of the deficiencies that exist within this offensive line right now, whether it be the inconsistent guard play, whether it be the breakdowns in pass protection, whether it be the inability to consistently and effectively run the football on first down, whether it be their struggles to finish drives, and really how they stall 50% of the time, over 50% of the time in the red zone, 47.2 in terms of touchdown percentage in the red zone is not going to get it done. It's got to get fixed. Todd Monken was asked about it. Also, the emergence of Pat Ricard, knowing that he continues to get himself back to full strength after missing the first month plus of the season with that calf. Todd talked about having 42 back at his disposal and ultimately what they have to do better inside the red zone.
Pat Ricard back has been a tremendous boost for us. I mean, the things he allows us to do in the run game, protection, his physicality that he brings is a big part of that. And then anything that we do, it doesn't matter whether it's third down, fourth down, any down and distance, we're always trying to mirror up what we do as best we can. what we've done and what we've presented to the defense. How can we do something off of that? And that just happened to be one of them.
I know you said the red zone issues are byproduct of multiple things. Specifically, I guess, with the inability to run the ball down in the red zone. Why do you feel like you haven't been able to consistently do that part? I guess, yeah.
Well, that's a part of it, but that's not the only part of it. We have to run it better, and it's not just the red zone. Short yardage in the black zone, third downs. We always have to be able to run the ball well. And then when we don't, then we have to be able to execute in the passing game, which we have in the past, and we're certainly more than capable of doing it. But all of us, and I think our guys would agree to that, have owned that. And, some of the last couple of weeks have been unfortunate. We get the ricochet off Rodgers' helmet. A week ago, we had a hell of a 2-minute drive and kick a field goal, but that gives you 0 for 1 in the red zone. But that was really a hell of a drive. And I'm not making excuses. We got to be a lot better in the red zone. But what matters most, just like any week, is that we're elite this week in the red zone, right? We're unbelievable in terms of offensive penalties, right? We haven't had procedural, we're not holding. But you know what matters? Is that we don't have penalties this week, right? That we're great on third down, that we're able to run it this week, that we're able to throw it this week. Just like anything, right? If you go 0 for 4 in baseball the day before, you know what matters now? Frickin' today. That's what matters right now. And really that's the way we're going to look at it, is you can't carry over stats, right? But we sure as hell can fix it and be really good this week.
And really all that matters, it's not how, it's just making sure you do. Not how you win, just win, baby. Today, get above 500 for the first time this season. Keep pace with Pittsburgh, perhaps even be interlocked and tied atop the division when it's all said and done today, knowing that the Steelers will not have Aaron Rodgers in Chicago, where the Bears have ripped off 7 of 8 or something along those lines. That's what's going on. I'm about to get back to the guest lines right now so we can talk about Emory Jones Jr. being active for the first time this season. Carl Lawson is still out of the equation. What today means overall when you look at the AFC North, I see Rave, I see just a guy, I see others in the waiting room right now. Just a guy, you were first. If you're ready to roll, turn that camera on and I'll get you in here in just a second. But first, this episode is brought to you by my friends at Preston Automotive Group. And guys, I've been so proud to partner up with one of the real great local dealerships and companies in the greater Baltimore area. At Preston, Bobby Baltimore subscribers get 2 exclusive offers. That's $500 towards a newer pre-owned vehicle. And you can see the landing page right now to be reminded of these offers that are available to you as a subscriber. So one is have an opportunity to cash in $500 towards a newer pre-owned vehicle. And or you buy 4 tires, you'll receive 50% off your alignment. You can see here that Sandy's the site operator. If you need questions that can be answered quickly, that chat and 24/7 Q&A right there is available to you. You can contact Preston easily to get started. Look at all the different dealership locations. If you're not in the Baltimore area, but you're somewhere throughout the DMV, chances are one of these can't be that far from you. Preston Ford West is my home dealership in Randallstown, Maryland. I mean, take a look. Take your pick all throughout the area. That's Delaware. That's Northern Virginia. That's the Eastern Shore. That's Baltimore City. You name it. Preston's got it. And right now, there's 3,751 different vehicles to choose from in terms of the available inventory, which is always fun, especially on a Sunday pregame. Maybe looking at your next set of wheels. You can break it down based on your preference, price, vehicle condition, year, make. I mean, you go on and on and on. Location, dealership, so on and so forth. I want to say continued thanks to Preston Automotive Group for single-handedly powering this channel for multiple years running, allowing me to roll around here in South Florida with my 2023 Ford Bronco Sport with the Bobby Baltimore decal on the background, and most importantly, being a great, great presence in the Baltimore area. To the guest lines we go. Appreciate you guys for being with me, getting your instant reaction to today's inactive list that just dropped. Emory Jones Jr. set to make his NFL debut. Perhaps Ben Cleveland is down. Emory is up. Carl Lawson has not yet been activated from the practice squad, so he's on the outside looking in when it comes to edge rusher opportunities in that rotation. And what am I missing? Anything else? I feel like I didn't get through the entire list, by the way. So before I do get back to the guest lines, Aeneas Peebles continues to be a healthy scratch at defensive tackle. Cooper Rush, of course, is your third emergency quarterback at QB3. I ripped off all the other names. Not a lot of surprises. Rasheen Ali is now outside of, I guess, behind, as he should have been all year long. That's all due respect to the former fifth-round pick out of Marshall. But I think we all can agree that Keaton should have been up all season long for Rasheen. So it'll be Derek, Justice, and Keaton in Lamar's backfield. Rashad Bateman misses his second consecutive game with that high ankle sprain. Keon Martin banged up his rib or ribs last week in Cleveland. Ben Cleveland, we already mentioned Ben is a healthy scratch. I'm sure Rave is going to have something to say about that. Carson Vincent, a healthy scratch today. He's a rookie day 3 pick, a developmental player. Aeneas Peebles, again, somewhat of a surprise there based on some of the promise that he was showing not only throughout the summer, but early on in this season. Aeneas is down. And again, I already mentioned Cooper Rush. Just the guy, you ready to roll, brother? Let me know and give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Oh, just you son of a bitch. You know what? Chef Trez tries to discuss
help it.
Himself, and then he pulls up and pulls down. What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. I feel like today is going to be a very good day. Now, I will say, I do think it is a little bit irresponsible of John Harbaugh to, I guess, put all his hope in Emory Jones to be like, if he gets out there and he's playing, then like he's going to replace one of the guards. Because to like put that much pressure on a rookie to come in who was also injured and had to get caught up to, the playbook, game speed, rehab, and all that other stuff, I feel like it was a little irresponsible. But at the same time, though, we need change. And I think the aspect of it to watch would be which guard does he go in there to replace? I'm gonna be honest, I don't think he's gonna replace Falele. I feel like John's probably gonna put him in there for Voorhees. Um, just knowing how things have been going and how much fans have been saying like get Falele out of here. I feel like I don't know. It's gonna be one of those things where he's gonna replace Voorhees for some reason. Everyone's gonna be like, but the other guy though.
Wouldn't that be something after the noisy week that it was aimed at 77? But hey, Jeff, drop that nugget. I'll keep revisiting this from some of the folks that he was talking to in terms of defense and opponents that have strategized against and game plan against the Ravens this year. They literally think, those that Jeff has spoken to, that Voorhees is the weaker link. It's hard to believe, but that is a perspective that's out there from those in the know. It was a very noisy week, as we all know, related to this offensive line. And of course, it was set ablaze nationally when Lamar sort of playfully, but maybe at the same time, low-key seriously said this about the state of his group.
3 sacks all of last year, and that's how many you have this year in fewer games.
Talk to the offensive line about that, man.
Well,
I mean, do you, about that, man. I ain't trying to,
realistically, I mean,
talk to the guys about that.
Do you feel the cumulative weight of some of the pressure you've been getting this year?
I mean, it's part of football, Sometimes guys will get you, sometimes they won't, Like I said, I'm talking to my guys about that. They probably ain't going to like that, though. Like, you guys telling me it's 23 sacks, they probably not going to like that.
All right, Chef. So here's the question I have for you. And I guess maybe you just alluded to it a little while ago here. But the question is, moving forward, related to Emory now being active. Remember, this is a player that underwent a labrum, so shoulder procedure after the combine. So that would have been sometime in March. He was then drafted a month later by the Ravens, day 2 out of LSU as a tackle. But he had guard experience there in Baton Rouge. And then just like a month or so ago, not long after they activated him from the non-football injury list, that T next to his name changed to a G. And we're all kind of like, oh, all right, like what's going on here? So the question is not whether or not he's going to be used as guard. He's going to be used as guard. I'm talking about today. What's the most likely scenario that unfolds for Emory? I think it's going to be in some sort of rotational capacity. You got to remember, this is a rookie. This is somebody that's never played a regular season snap. And ultimately, I would guess somebody that's going to be on somewhat of a pitch count, snap count, due to not still rehabbing his shoulder, but not wanting to overdo it. It's the first time he's played in close to a year. So what's your gut feel on that?
Gut feel on that is either I'm not leaning more so rotational. I mean, you had George Warhop at the beginning of the year saying like, "Oh, rotations don't work," blah blah, whatever. Then you had,
He must have
Harbaugh
not
saying
watched
there's
film
no.
from last year then.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, everyone draws their lines in the sand for some reason. But yeah, you had that. Then you had Harbaugh saying there's no competition, and I believe like last week or something, in one of his press conferences, he was saying that it's very important for the offensive line to remain as a unit. So, I mean, if you're going to throw in a rotation, that kind of defeats the whole unit, comment and whatnot. So, where I see it happening is either someone is just absolutely terrible, whether it's Voorhees, whether it's filet whatever, whether whether it's one of those two, someone's probably gonna have maybe a very subpar game, or I don't know, we're up by 30 and we're like, yeah, shit, just throw them out there. Why not? So
Up by 30, you're
it's
confident
one of
that
the
might be the
two.
case, huh? By the way, let's keep in mind too that a 6 offensive lineman look could be an option as well, depending on some
Oh yeah,
alignments
heavy
and whatnot.
package type of
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, totally. Like get him, just kind of
Yeah.
ease him in instead of just being like, "Yo, we're throwing you to the fire, regardless of what the deficit is for the Jets or not." Right now, there's over 100 votes in my live chat poll, and I said, I knew this was going to be the case. What should Emory Jones Jr.'s role be today? And I gave 4 different options. And Chef, again, no surprise at all here. What's leading the way? Starting right guard at 46%. Rotational right guard is at 43%. Sixth offensive lineman, what I just sort of threw out there, is at 5%. And garbage time experiment is at 6%. Needless to say, you think, where's your vote going here?
It would be for right guard, but at the same time, again, like, listen, I would not be surprised if John Harbaugh did something to where Voorhees is on the bench and Emery's getting snaps at left guard. I would not be surprised.
I
He
am
loves,
patiently waiting for the pregame warm-up tweets that tend to come in from the beat reporter crew that have the bird's eye view of the bank. So we'll just kind of hang on tight. It's great to see you, brother. Enjoy the game. We'll catch up soon.
I got one more thing. It's real quick.
Oh, fuck a timer,
I feel like this
guess.
is.
I mean,
I might as well. Hey, I feel like this. This is the last thing. I feel like this might become the new kind of like Falele, Ben Cleveland thing. But what is it that they're seeing in David Ajabo that has Carl Lawson on the bench and Aeneas Peebles just constantly inactive? Like, I don't know. What are they seeing in him to where they're like, he's gonna go boom or bust or something later this season?
Yeah, that was my initial poll, as you may have seen. Like that was why I was kind of like starting the show, and that was before the Emory news came down the timeline. So, the only thing I can think of here is that they deserve the benefit of doubt in some cases. I know it's been hard to think that within the fan base from an offensive line evaluation, but knowing what just happened with Jair, knowing that Carl was on the couch, so to speak, as Kyle Van Noy said a couple years ago, for a reason. You hope that he's up at some point because you're not getting much aside from some decent run fits for David Ajabo at times. But yeah, I am surprised that he hasn't been called up yet. He's on the practice squad. At any given point, he can be plucked. People forget about that. But granted, nobody has, and I think the Ravens maybe know what they have in him, and he was available for a reason. So I guess it's an insurance policy until proven otherwise, which is crazy because you kind of sit here into maybe what you're alluding to here is that can it be much worse or less impactful than what they've gotten out of Ajabo? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
I would think.
That's all I got. I'm bounced.
Good seeing you, brother. Enjoy the game. Guest lines are open. Appreciate you guys for being with me today. Obviously, what we know has not been good enough is an offense that at times looks like a shell of itself, whether it be the predictability on first down carries for Derrick Henry, whether it be in the red zone, or whether it be really congested, tightly packed pockets that are swallowing Lamar up. Wow. we're going to want to just take a full, not a 30-second timeout. We're going to want to go a 60-second timeout on the floor right now. You guys can go sit down. That's on me. Rave is looking like he's sick right now in the waiting room. Maurice is going to pop on here in just a second. I'm just going to go ahead and listen to Derrick Henry. I got to take a timeout for a second after that.
Sort of confidence, though, in short yardage situations, though, going forward?
This must have been the best play I've ever seen in y'all life. I mean, we just executed the play. It worked, and we always have confidence. Not because one play went for a touchdown, we don't have confidence. I mean, defense get paid too. Sometimes they're going to get the best of you, sometimes you will. So that's just football.
Derek, related, what do you think has to change, or how can the red zone, especially the deep red zone, improve?
Execution. Us just executing, us being better. It all ties in together. I think just us focus on it and getting better at it, letting the results show. This has been executed. This has been our style of play and the result that we want.
It takes a lot for the King to get prickly in his media sessions there in a scrum from earlier this week. But again, that was related to what they've all been asked about time and time again over the last week or so. The game winner for Mark Andrews, and we all know what took place on Sunday in Cleveland with the fake tush push, all the execution, right, including Charlie Kohler sealing the edge, Pat Ricard getting the block, and Mark Andrews obviously doing the rest, with King Henry and Lamar, by the way, playing a role from an alignment standpoint on that play as well. But you heard him, right? The execution line, that's been talked about. Tyler Linderbaum this week told Bo Smoka that the red zone issues come down to not being able to run the ball well enough. Quote, that starts with us, the O-line. He says he has no doubt they have the guys in the room to do it, but it has to be better. Back to the guest lines we go. Rave, they've got the guys in the room to do it. Your guy is down today. Emory Jones Jr. is up. Pre-game warm-up tweets probably coming in the next few moments or so, so we'll just hang tight for that. But do they have the guys? Of course they have the guys to do what it takes today against the Jets. But go to the poll and share your thought with me on what I have in the poll right now. What should Emory Jones Jr.'s role be today? Rave, talk to me. Welcome back to the program. And you are muted, big fella. Bro, it's 45 minutes to kickoff. You got to get your ass up. What are you doing?
You mean to tell me that the very moment that there's a chance that we could possibly blow out a team, and all of a sudden, Ben Cleveland's inactive?
You're the only one upset today. You do know that, correct?
Say it again?
You're the only one who's upset today with this roster decision. You do realize that.
Yeah, I am. Because we don't even know for sure if Emery's even getting in. And secondly, if Emery does get in, he's going to go for Voorhees at best. And then on top of that, you're telling me all of a sudden, everyone that's in this chat, you don't think that this is not the slightest interesting situation, that all of a sudden, the moment that there's a chance that we could see the backup lineman in because we could possibly blow out this team, you're telling me all of a sudden Ben Cleveland's inactive? Because if Ben Cleveland is inactive, that means if we blow out the Jets today, we're going to see Emery for multiple snaps, and we're going to be seeing some backup linemen for multiple snaps, and all of a sudden Ben Cleveland's inactive? Tell me why is he inactive this week? Do we know why?
I'm not necessarily of the belief that it has to be a blowout to see Emery today.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But my point is, I find it very interesting, though. A healthy scratch on the team that we can possibly beat them, though? Possibly blow out? Possibly a smaller team that we're like, look, for example, us Ravens fans are in the belief and hope that today is the experiment of Emory Jones, correct? A
Sure.
possible belief.
In some capacity, yes.
In some capacity, right? And all of a sudden, Ben Cleveland is inactive against this Jets team that he's gonna see what maybe we could do, and he inactive Emory Jones. See, the thing is, here's the thing: if Emory goes out there and looks good, John Harbaugh can defend himself and say, well, he was a rookie and we just wanted him to get himself ready, and now we're ready to push him out there. We just wanted to see what he could do against the Jets, and yes, he'll start. And I'm sure it will be Jorge's spot, not for Lele. But what would he say? What would he say if Ben Cleveland went out there and it was looking good for this Jets team? Because the fans would be in uproar and say, hold on, that's the backup lineman we've been had. And he looks good out there against the Jets. Why was he not in the game for Lele?
I feel like what you just have not been able to come to terms with is the idea that they have deemed Ben to be ineffective for what they want to do. And people would come back and say, why did they sign him? They signed him because it's really hard to have, I was going to say quality, but he hasn't been for the Ravens, I guess, in terms of his full body of work. The starts that he has under his belt in a pinch have been quality. Let's call it serviceable, right? But serviceable insurance policies that come at a price tag of like 1.17 mil, which is non-guaranteed or something that they signed him to as a vested veteran or whatever that special nuanced deal that it had this past offseason, those are hard to come by. And so that's why he's on the roster, bro.
Here's the key part that you just said. Here's where's the smallest thing that I hope everybody heard. You said serviceable. Daniel Falele is not even serviceable. We need him gone. He's not even serviceable. You just said Ben Cleveland is serviceable, so he's like, and that's what makes me so mind-boggling how y'all don't even think about this, right? If Ben Cleveland, they sign him because if he's serviceable, because that's what he gets the contract for. Okay, he's cheap, but he's serviceable enough. Ben Cleveland's not even serviceable. So if you get a guy that's serviceable, you know he's good enough to play better than Daniel Falele. Because Daniel Falele ain't serviceable, man. Listen, y'all listen. I'm telling you, Emery's gonna go out there and he might play for Jorge's spot. He gonna look good. You know what John and them gonna say? Oh, we were just trying to get him up to speed. He's been hurt. He's healed up. He's ready to go. But if Big Cleveland was out there, he was balling right now. If for one of those spots, he was balling out there. How you think they would defend it? They wouldn't be able to defend it. That's why he's inactive today. Think about it, Ravens fans. Think about it. I'm not crazy, man. I'm crazy, man.
I'm going to keep the waiting room. I'm going to keep the calls coming.
All right,
I think
man.
the best
All right.
accomplishment from this call
man.
is that you are now alive and well. And I was concerned about you at the top of this segment. And now I feel really good about the way you're going to go attack and win the day. So please go do that.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
Later, brother. There goes Rave. He's going to go win the day, isn't he? Isn't he, Ing? Welcome, Ing Raven, back to the live chat. He's getting ready for his play-by-play live stream. Dude, how do you do that, by the way? As a solo commentator for, what does it end up becoming? Like 3 hours and change? It's impressive. Very impressive. Hopefully you get some water swigs in there and some halftime breaks and whatnot. But yeah, Ing's play-by-play is going to be joining, or play-by-play is going to be broadcasting starting at like 1 o'clock. So hopefully you guys will go right from this pregame coverage into Ing's live stream watch with me type of content coming up in just a bit. So, okay, Rave is crashing out. I don't think anybody else is as it relates to Ben Cleveland. I think, matter of fact, everybody's really excited that Emory Jones Jr. is going to get an opportunity to potentially make his NFL debut, and for the first time this season is active. Emory Jones Jr. is active. That's what we're talking about. How should he be used? Vote in the poll or share a thought with me on the guest lines right now. Maurice and EB in the waiting room are coming to you in just a bit. But first and foremost, this from Mina Kimes on her show earlier this week as it relates to some of the deficiencies with this current state of the offense.
My focus here is Lamar Jackson, because it took me a second to get to the Browns, but the game, the offense still just ain't right. right? Like it's just not right yet. And the thing I wrote, there's a lot of things you can point to, but I think if I had to isolate, they're still not run the ball the way they did last year. That's a big thing. The quick game is not as efficient as it was last season. Like, I think people always think about Lamar and they think about the crazy structure plays, and it's like, oh my God, how did he do that? He found a guy downfield. But the reality is he was just an assassin last year on quick game, and that's not been the case. But the thing I would emphasize and that I think is relevant to this game, if like this goes sideways for Baltimore, is just the sacks that he's taken. I've mentioned this before, and his play under pressure generally, but he last year had the second best pressure to sack ratio, or probably fourth best in football. This year it's 31st. He is sacked 30% of the time when he's pressured.
Jeez.
And also his play under pressure, and this is partially because of those sacks. Last year it was second in QBR. This year it's 23rd. I don't think he's losing his athleticism. I'm not like he can't escape anymore. But I do think the offensive line isn't getting quite, they're not as good as they were last year. And it just feels like when I watch them, they aren't like, the run pass conflict in particular isn't working like it did last season. But yeah, he just can't take those sacks, especially when they start playing better defenses.
Okay, here's your pregame warm-up tweet. That was from Mina Kimes' podcast earlier this week, and I think we all know what some of the issues are right now. When Lamar's pressured, he's being sacked 30% of the time. It's not good enough. Sure, some of that has to do with the indecisiveness or Lamar just having to get the ball out of his hands, right? But I think we know the cumulative effect that's been really over the course of a 10-game sample size, even though Lamar's only played 6.5 of those games due to injury, that's leading to wear and tear. The fourth best pressure to sack ratio in football is what the Ravens had last year. That was an offensive statistic, not just a Lamar statistic, but an offensive statistic. This year, that number has dropped to 31st, second last league-wide. He is sacked, again, 30% of the time when pressured. For those of you wondering what's going on in the warm-ups, Jeff Zaribek, the first to hit on it. Here it is in the initial part, the first part of warm-ups. There does not appear to be any changes with the starting offensive line. Emory Jones, at least in the first phase, as Jeff notes here on X, is lining up as second-team left guard. This is not a surprise. He's making his NFL debut today, or set to potentially make his NFL debut. He's active for the first time this season. He underwent a labrum shoulder procedure after the combine. The Ravens selected him on day 2 of the draft. He was on the NFI list for the majority of this season until earlier this month. And now potentially hours away here, minutes away. I don't know. It looks like he's probably not going to start, but potentially making his first NFL regular season snap coming up in just a bit. Maurice, what say you? What should Emory Jones' usage be today if you're John Harbaugh and company? Welcome back to the program, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. If I was John Harbaugh, realistically speaking, what I would do, I would just have Emory Jones just starting throughout the entire game. I mean, at this point, it wouldn't hurt. It honestly wouldn't hurt. If you ask me,
why the hell would you do that? Why the hell would you do that?
Because my personal opinion, if you ask me, I mean, hell, if you put anybody back there, anybody is better than the likes of Daniel Falele. I mean, like what Ray said earlier, Daniel Falele is nowhere. I repeat, nowhere to be serviceable. So if you look at the tape, every time you look at his highlights, it's like either he's not blocking the soul, number one, or number two, he's always falling flat on his face, or worse, falling flat on his ass, looking up at the sky like he's giving himself to the Lord. He's not serviceable. So I agree with Rave on that one. So it most definitely wouldn't hurt if you put Emory Jones out there. I mean,
but can we just at least acknowledge some of the medical side of things here? This is a player, he has not played in close to a year. He was not a part of training camp. He was on the NFI list for the majority of the season. He was activated from that earlier this month. And since then, has been building himself up. I don't think it would be very wise of them to just throw him into the fire immediately as a starting right or left guard. Ease him in as a sixth offensive lineman. ease him in today if you have that double-digit lead built up in the second half. Make it a rotational basis. I know they've said that they don't want to go there, but they have in the past. Give him an opportunity to kind of ease in to this chance of showing what he can be, which is, by the way, a physical specimen, a dog, just as he was in Baton Rouge, and going to have a chance to potentially prove that he can do it at the highest of levels today.
No, I actually agree with you on that one as well. I mean, if you add him into the rotation, put him on a snap count, honestly, that wouldn't hurt either. But if I was John Harbaugh, one thing I most definitely wouldn't do is allow Daniel Falele to play a full 60 minutes because, hell, worst case scenario, that's just going to mess around and get an MVP quarterback banged up. It's already happened on a number of occasions. Now, I do understand it's like the deficiencies on the offensive side of the ball. It doesn't fall solely on Daniel Falele. I mean, there are other glaring holes on the offensive line as well, like Roger Rosengarten and even Ronnie Stanley. He's had his fair share of hiccups. Now, granted, now with Ronnie Stanley, his ankle hasn't really been 100%. And as much as we all love Ronnie, but we got to be honest, it's like his ankle hasn't really been the same since that season-ending injury back in 2020. But that's conversation for another day.
But he had his best season last year since the ankle injury. Was fantastic, was durable, was a damn near close to Pro Bowl left tackle, which was a great sign. But obviously, to your point, it has it has popped up a little bit more this year, that ankle. I don't believe it's the same surgically repaired ankle, so just be clear on that. I don't think that's confirmation that that's the case, which is good news for him. But at some point here, and maybe that's why you drafted Roger. I know his one of his high school coaches who won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning in Denver, Tyler Columbus, thinks that he's going to be really having a good chance to be the Ronnie's successor at left tackle. So we'll have to wait and see if that happens in the near future. But yes, there has to be a contingency plan, a replacement plan coming up here for Ronnie at some point because. Look, he took a hometown discount this offseason. You love that. They extended him. They did right by him. He wants to be a lifelong Raven. He wants to see this through and reach the mountaintop with Lamar. He's one of the longest tenured players on the team, which you respect and appreciate his admiration for the group. At some point here, though, you got to wonder if that body and that lower body, knowing his stature, is going to come back and bite him when it's all said and done. Give me your prediction, and I got to keep going on the calls here, brother.
Let's see, the prediction for the game or the prediction for the jump to starting lineup?
Yeah, today's score prediction. Yep.
Well, given it's the Jets, I've got us pretty much winning the ball game. I'd say 31-14. I feel like that's a reasonable score. I mean, then again, it's the Jets. They're the bottom dwellers of the AFC East. But knowing the NFL, it is, anything happening in the NFL, I mean, it is a professional league at the end of the day. It's like a lot of crazy things can happen no matter who your opponent is, whether you're playing like a top contender or bottom dwellers of whatever division. It's like, but we'll just have to wait and see how the game pans out. But that's my prediction.
The two wins that the Jets do have this year, notably, are in the AFC North, Cleveland and Cincinnati. So just for whatever it's worth, that's that. Appreciate you, Maurice. Enjoy the game, brother. I'm sure we'll catch up with you in post-game fashion. EB, you're up next here in just a second. Let's see if Lamar can jumpstart Isaiah Likely. It's been a slow statistical start to Isaiah's season. It's a contract year for number 80, and he just hasn't looked right or fully like himself since coming back from that foot injury that he sustained over training camp. Here is Lamar on that very topic earlier this week.
Isaiah Likely over the last 4 years. Why do you feel like he hasn't had as many breakout games this year since he came back from the injury? And do you feel like it's still going to come his way at some point?
I mean, we got other tight ends, other guys eating, but he's been coming along, as the season been going on, and he was out like the first few weeks, but his time is coming, But like I said, we got other guys who's been stepping up and doing their thing. So, when your number's called, I feel like he's going to do what he's supposed to do.
Statistically, for the tight ends this season, it has been slow. Isaiah obviously finds himself in that category. He's got 118 receiving yards on 12 receptions, 17 targets, no touchdowns, 7 games played. A lot of this, I think, has to do with the foot. Some of this has to do with the fact that Lamar missed multiple games right when Isaiah got back. I think he returned for the Chiefs game, if I'm not mistaken. And then in the second half of that game in Kansas City, Lamar left with the hamstring and then missed multiple games. So hopefully they can get this guy going. This is a dude that's in the middle of a contract year. Mark Andrews is also in the middle of a contract year. Same thing with Charlie Kohler. Not all 3 of these guys are going to be Baltimore Ravens next season, guys. I'd be shocked if that's the case. They're going to have to obviously reboot through the draft. And hey, based on how they've done historically at the tight end position, you can expect that they're going to bring in players that produce right away. The question becomes, who's going to be their guy at tight end? Who's going to receive the extension money? I have a hard time believing that that's not going to be Isaiah, but this slow statistical start continues. And man, I just get the sense that that's going to, sure, like in a lot of ways, you've seen a small sample size of what Isaiah is and can be for this team. Bottom line is you're going to be projecting, and this happens across the league, you will be projecting that those types of sample sizes continue throughout the course of his career when you decide to pay him top 10 tight end money. And you kind of get the sense based on reading the tea leaves this offseason that there have been conversations had between the two parties, Likely's representatives and the Ravens front office. And clearly they're either far apart or I would think that's it. I don't think there's another option. I think it's clearly they're far apart, which could make things murky if this slow season continues to linger for Isaiah. Appreciate you guys for being with me this afternoon. We're a little over 30 minutes or so from the start of kickoff at the bank. Ravens trying to win 5 straight games. They'll do so against a former day 3 pick out of Virginia Tech. It's Tyrod Taylor making his return to Baltimore.
Back to the place where it all started for you.
It's a full circle moment for sure. Thankful for my time in Baltimore. I learned a lot from the coaches there, to the players within that locker room. Learned a lot about football. Learned a lot about how to carry myself off the field as well too. Like I said, just forever thankful for the 4 years that I spent there. I have a lot of friends in that building still. It's been a while since I went back there to play, but yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity for us. Have a very good team, and we're looking forward to stepping up to the challenge this weekend.
Good for Tyrod, man. He's 36 years old. He's, of course, a 2011 6th-round pick by the Ravens. He spent his first 4 years in Baltimore. He then went to Buffalo. He's been in Cleveland. He's been in L.A. with the Chargers, Houston, both New York teams. And now, of course, he finds himself replacing Justin Fields, who was benched. This will be his second start of the season for Tyrod, and this is a group that has a tall task in front of it. The Jets, a fire sale, weeks removed from a fire sale at the deadline, including sending Quinnen Williams to Dallas. They shipped out Sauce Gardner for a boatload in return to Indianapolis. Garrett Wilson, their top playmaker on offense, is on injured reserve, and it's a Jets offense that, quite frankly, is really, really struggling. They're the 29th ranked overall group. They do run the ball effectively with Breece Hall. They're 5th ranked league-wide at 141.6 rushing yards per game. So the Ravens are going to have to be ready to roll with some of those run fits and stout up front. They're actually dead last in their passing offense, 32nd league-wide, 25th in scoring, 25th on 3rd down, 20th on 4th down, and they're not that much better than the Ravens in the red zone. 52.2% of the time inside the 20, they're scoring touchdowns. The Ravens, 47.2. I won't continue to belabor that point because I know you know very well, just how difficult it's been for the Ravens there. EB, you with me? If you are, we'll bring you on. If not, we'll go to William Bruce. EB is there. He just reappears. Welcome back, brother, and happy game day to you.
Likewise, Bobby, likewise. I want to take a different approach instead of coming on here ranting and talking my shit. I actually want to take a more realistic and analytical approach. So what would you like to start off with, Bobby?
I'll follow your lead. Uh-oh. Where you at? Where's your
Oh,
connectivity
can
at,
you hear me?
EB?
Right? Can you hear me? We good?
You're right, Ing. My man's always on the clock. That's his problem.
And then I got a weight vest on too, Bobby. So I mean,
You
but
look great, brother. You look great, and I appreciate I appreciate the clear work ethic that you have. I know you're taking care of some at home, so you're the man. But I'll follow your lead in terms of where you want to go today, and make it brief because we're coming up on kickoff here.
all right. Far as the poll that you were talking about, I know a lot of people want Emery just thrown in the fire for starting, but I don't recommend that. He is still coming back from an injury that kept him out for the last couple of months, including training camp. So, in my opinion, it should be a rotation. It should definitely be a rotation. It should definitely be a snap count. Ease him in, and if he has the hot hand and the offensive line is clicking, then okay. But I would ease Emery in. I would not risk him injuring himself because he injures himself. Oh,
I think that's smart. It's a young player. It's an inexperienced player. It's somebody that did not participate in training camp out of unavailability. I mean, they just had to protect the player from himself in his rehab with the labrum. So anybody that's just throwing him out there to be your starting right or left guard, I just don't know if that's the most object. It's just not wise. It's unwise. And you want to be careful with this player. This is somebody that could be your starting right or left guard for the next 4 or 5 years. So you want to be careful with him. And if you go back and look at his LSU tape, this dude was not only a specimen, but a menace in the trenches in Baton Rouge. So you want to make sure he realizes that potential at the NFL level. And so just be careful with it,
Yeah. I also, and see, it's crazy. That was an interesting take. Your boy Dre Dog from the last guest live stream, he basically said that he wouldn't be surprised if instead of taking Fa La 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 out, they gonna throw Jones in and throw Voorhees out. If that happens, I'm hoping. No, that's a real interesting take, especially as far as him referencing that before we lost Joe, Fa La La was actually his project, and he was pretty much working and turning him into a guard. I am hoping John Horrible is not going that route and actually seeing what's in front of him. I'm hoping that it's Fa La La who takes a seat instead of Voorhees, because we all know, Bobby, even you, we all know when it comes to the fuck ups and the losing bad out of everybody on that line, Fa La La's fuck ups are the loudest. They're the loudest. I'm not defending that Voorhees has to do better and he has to tighten up. But considering that this is his first full year as a starter, I'm willing to give him more grace versus Fa La La. He's
All
had
right,
all
EB.
the grace in this year, but yeah,
Safe
Bobby.
travels out there today. Have a great rest of your shift, and I appreciate the call, man.
No problem.
Talk to you, EB. Man, he always is putting in work, isn't he? Will, you're the caboose today, my man. Last but certainly not least, welcome back to the program. What you got going into today?
Well, when it comes to, thanks for letting me come on there. For the guard situation, definitely want to see a rotation. I don't think it's a good idea for any new player, whether they're a young talent or a seasoned veteran, because you got to get that cadence with the rest of the offensive line. You got to be able to have that, that chemistry. You just don't throw someone out there that'll cause a lot more problems than people will consider. So hopefully I can rotate him in and things go well. Maybe the next game he might be able to be a starter potentially. I don't see this as what you would call a trap game. There's just too many weaknesses. The defense is not there for the Jets, especially since they gave away their two best players, and there's nothing there to replace that. So I can see a lot of running up the gut with King Henry. due to the fact that they don't have Quentin Williams there to really, stuff someone like that. Plus, when it comes to the passing game, I see a potential repeat, another interception filled game with either Nate Wiggins or with Hamilton. There's not a lot of wide receiver weapons there for Tyrod, honestly, since Garrett's not going to be there. Plus, Tyler is a great quarterback when he was here with us as a backup. As a starter, I don't see he's going to have the ability to get the ball out there as need be because he's going to get a lot of pressure. He's probably going to be running.
I'm sick for him. What happened with the Chargers medical staff several years ago when he was a starter playing well and they accidentally, unintentionally punctured his lung. I am still sick for him about that. But anyway, that just popped up in my mind when you talk about Tyrod as a starter versus a backup. So if you could hit us with your prediction before you get on out of here.
I would see if the conservative part, 26-13. If this really gets out of hand, I could see it being almost like 38-10.
Okay. So getting out of hand maybe late or?
I'm saying like if they start putting the pressure on, you start seeing interceptions come in, possibly some fumbles from, Tyrod holding the ball because, our defensive backs are helping the line get there, So probably around the third, probably early fourth, you could probably see a situation where they're trying to get back in the game and you start seeing more of the turnovers. And that's when you're going to probably see that like late run where it's just kind of getting out of hand and then it'll probably end up just kind of running the ball the rest of the way.
All right. You heard the man. I appreciate the call, brother. Enjoy the game today. We'll catch up with you on the post-game side of things.
You have a good one.
Later, man. Appreciate all you guys for participating today. Hot pregame show. And it's going to be even hotter in the Discord group over the next few hours. In-game chatter, in-game dialogue, instant reaction to play after play after play, and a great way to interact with me and Sarah on a more informal basis. If you'd like to join, it is free to do so. I just updated the pinned comment, and I'll also drop the link into the live chat right now for those of you in the Twitter space. It is free. I'll take your predictions as well, which are coming in right now. But free Discord access is being dropped into the live chat. I would love for you guys to join. You can see it on the screen right now. You do get like Flock the Haters and AKA Headache got. You get shout outs when you accept the invitation and join the group. There's over 1,000 members. Matter of fact, 1,052 to be exact. Bobby After Dark was getting busy last night. But for the purpose of today's show, obviously the football chat is going to be where everything's going down. Look at B More Chef right here making Roquan look small. That's awesome. I hadn't seen that yet. I hadn't even looked through all of this yet just because it's been a busy weekend. But, and Rave's already pissed. Look, Rave's throwing TikTok links in there. Already know what that's going to be about. But hope you guys will check it out. Hope you'll join for in-game chatter. And as always, my in-game tweets can be found on Twitter as well. You can find me at Bobby Baltimore. Hope you'll join me there. Hope you'll join me post-game. Sarah will be back, by the way, on the Vault tonight, and we'll be live probably around 5 o'clock once the post-game press conferences finish up, taking your predictions, your score predictions. Mike has 33-17. At R&B 83 has 34-9. Drunk Monk 36, 34-10 Ravens. Any other predictions out there before we hop on out of here? I want to say thanks to Preston Automotive Group for the continued support. Steve Loop is in the live chat. Best wishes to Tyler en route to his 11th career game in the NFL. And my, oh my, does he continue to stack together a really fine rookie season at kicker. Continues to answer the bell. Happy for him. Happy for the Loop family. Also happy for Mark Andrews, who as a diabetic himself continues to do great work in the community. My sponsor, Preston Automotive Group, partnered up with Mark and the folks at Breakthrough T1D, meaning type 1 diabetes, for every Mark Andrews touchdown. Okay, $890 is donated towards finding a cure for type 1 diabetes. If you want to learn more about what Mark is doing in the community, go follow Preston Automotive Group on Instagram. We do a bunch of different giveaways. Here they are. They're one of my most trusted, long-standing sponsors. and they're located all throughout the DMV, including right there headquartered in Preston, Maryland. Guys, I hope you enjoy the game. Jason has 34-13 Ravens. Abdi has 45-10. Man, Troy's got 27-13. Couple lopsided scores. I'll reshare what I had on Friday inside the vault. I need to see more from this offense, and particularly pass protection and the ability to not stall in the red zone to start predicting those kind of blowouts. Give me Ravens 26-14, winners of 5 straight. And now the favorable stretch of games comes to a close once this one finishes up today. AFC North play awaits. A very short week awaits with Thursday Night Football looming at the bank with Cincinnati. Pittsburgh awaits. And, of course, the likes of Green Bay and New England, 2 stiff competitions in their own right, also await as well. Appreciate you guys as always. Thanks to Preston Automotive Group. Thanks for a fantastic show. You guys were awesome. Callers, keep bringing it. And I'll catch up with you guys post-game tonight inside the vault. And as always, I'll go live once Sarah and I finish up, probably during Sunday Night Football later on. Appreciate you guys so much. Enjoy the game.